Hi everybody, and thanks for tuning in to this week's yoga video. Today we're going to be continuing our series for yoga for Olympic weightlifters, and we're going to work on hip opening and ankle mobility. So when you're ready, have a seat on your mat. This practice is brought to you by Clever Yoga, who sent this yoga mat. It's a little thicker, which I like for practices when I'm seated the entire time. So if you are finding that your yoga mat is too thin, give this one a try. For this practice, I'm going to be using a couple props, and I recommend that you do the same. If you don't have these exact props, just use something else in your home. Do not let not having the props prevent you from doing this practice. So the first thing I'm going to use is a yoga strap. This one is also by Clever Yoga, but if you have a tie or a belt at home, I would just use that if you don't have a strap. The next thing I'm going to be using is a thick blanket. You could use a thick towel, or I'm sure you have a thick blanket at your house. You could also use like a couch cushion or a bolster or something like that. So grab those two things and then meet me back on the mat. We're going to start in a comfortable seated position. For people who have very tight hips, a comfortable seated position, sitting down on the ground, pretty much just doesn't exist. You'll notice that if your hips are tight, you find that when you try to sit up nice and tall, you kind of slouch back, or you feel a lot of strain in here or in here. If that's the case for you, grab hold of your thick towel or blanket, roll it up, and then just sit on the very edge of it. You don't need to sit too far back. You just want to be on the very edge so that your pelvis tips forward. And then as you do that, you should be able to bring your legs down to the ground and sit tall and be somewhat comfortable. So we're just going to take 3 deep breaths here. Go ahead and close your eyes. And as you breathe in, visualize the air entering your body, starting from the bottom of the lungs. And then as you continue up your inhale, you're going to feel the lungs expand through the ribs. And at the very top of your inhale, you'll take one last sip and feel your chest gently rise. So your lungs are completely being used. They're completely filled up. And then as you exhale, slowly exhale from the chest, then from the ribs, and finally emptying out the lungs completely, feeling your belly button draw in towards your navel. 2 more times just like that. And last time, deep breath in. And full breath out. And then quietly open up your eyes. And we're going to start sitting tall. I'm just going to turn, so you'll stay exactly where you are. And then bring one foot out in front of you. And then lift the foot up. And you're just going to make small circles, imagining that you're drawing a big circle with your big toe. So move as slowly or as quickly as feels good for you, but make your circle a very controlled movement. And then from here, we're going to switch directions. And then stop and bring the foot in towards your body. So from here, take your fingers and interlace them through your toes. I know it sounds weird. It is a little weird. How often have you ever, is this your first time doing it? I wouldn't be surprised. If you need to extend your other leg, that's fine. And then from here, you're just going to kind of wiggle around, opening up those toes, and then slowly begin to make that same circle movement. So what we're doing here is opening up the little tiny muscles in the feet. Our feet have hundreds of muscles that often aren't used because we stuff them into socks and then into shoes and then walk on them all day, and they don't get a whole lot of stretching. So what we're doing is trying to stretch and open up those muscles and develop those little tiny muscles so that when you are doing your lifts, switch direction, when you are doing your lifts, you'll have a little bit more mobility. And then gently release, and we'll take it to the other side. So lift your other leg, make your small circles, And as you're doing this, see if you can spread your toes, which I know is also weird. If you need to manually reach down and spread the toes and then try to hold them open, sometimes if you hold your fingers open, that helps holding your toes open if you're not used to spreading your toes. Then switch direction, because again, we want to develop strength and openness in the small muscles in the feet. And that's one way to do it. And then stop and bring your foot in. Interlace your fingers in between the toes. Wiggle it around a little bit, try to find a comfortable position, and then we'll go with the circles. And then switch direction. And then gently release. Remove the towel from underneath you, set it to your side, and then extend your legs out in front. Remove the flesh from underneath. And bring your hands down to your shins. Now, if that's not working for you, you want to pay attention to your low back. So if you're reaching towards your shins and your low back is going like this and rounding, and your pelvis is tilting back that way, then you do want to grab the towel and sit on the edge of it so that you can tilt forward and have length in your low back rather than around in your low back. So you make the judgment call and then position yourself in a way that works for you. Flex your feet and spread your toes. If you need to reach down and spread your toes, do that. And then from here, you're going to point your right foot, keeping your toes spread on both feet. Point your right foot. And then switch. And then switch. And each time you're trying to get a little bit more length in your low back, imagining switch that your belly is going to come down towards your thighs. So we're opening up the hamstrings, we're working the muscles in the feet, working on the ankle mobility, switch. Switch. Good. Gently release and grab hold of your strap, your tie, or your belt. You're going to find the middle of your strap and then wrap it around the center of your feet, so your sides are even. Then grab hold as close as you can and then wrap the strap, tie, or belt around your hands once. Take a deep breath and get long through your spine. So I don't know if you could see that, but I kind of rippled up through my spine, so I'm nice and long, low back is long. Again, you want to be seated on your towel if your hips are very tight and your pelvis is leaning back. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, use your bicep strength to pull yourself forward, but you want to be really mindful here. Go really slow. Make yourself go slower than you want to go, and breathe length into your hamstrings. Watch for your shoulders being pulled up towards your ears. You want to relax your shoulders away and pull with each exhale just a little bit more, a little bit more. Maybe you don't need the strap and you can grab hold of the bottoms of your feet. What you want to avoid having happen is your back to round too much. If you're rounding like this, then you're stretching your back and not opening up your hamstrings. So be really mindful, let go of your ego, let whatever you're able to do be enough. And then take a look at your toes. Spread your toes as much as you can, as wide as you possibly can. Hold them open as wide as you can. And then gently release, and release this pose. From here, bring your right foot into your inner thigh as close to the pelvis as you can. And then shift your left foot in just a little bit so you're squaring your upper body over your leg. Take a deep breath in. And begin to spider your fingers forward, but you want to maintain that length in the low back. If you're rounded a lot, then you're stretching your back, and you don't want to do that. So a couple ways to fix that. Use a strap, bringing the middle of the strap around the middle of your foot, grabbing hold as close as you can, and pulling forward. Also, you could sit on the edge of your towel to maintain that forward tilt in your pelvis. If you're out here, and your back is long and you really feel something happening in your hamstrings, that's totally fine. Don't let my being up here impact how you're feeling about where you are. Let wherever you are be enough. So we're just gonna breathe here for 3 deep breaths. Deep breath in. As you do this, fill up your lungs just as we did at the beginning of practice. So fill up your lungs starting from the bottoms of the lungs to the middle, and finally all the way up at the top. And the reason for this is to help expand the lungs, help learn how to properly breathe, and that proper breath work will also help with your lifts as well. Try to keep your chest open, so draw your shoulder blades back towards one another. And then gently release, and we'll take it to the other side. So we're gonna bend your left leg, bringing the left foot into the inner right thigh. And then bring the right leg in just a little bit so you can square your upper body over the leg. Now, if you feel like there's too much padding underneath your sitting bone, just remove the flesh from underneath. So just kind of move that glute muscle out to the side so you're firmly rooted into the mat. Flex your foot. And then decide whether or not you'll be using your strap. Go ahead and wrap it around the middle. Get long in your low back, sit tall. And as you exhale, use your bicep strength to pull yourself forward, keeping your chest open. Draw shoulder blades toward one another, and then look ahead, not straight down towards your foot. So the goal here one day is to get the stomach against the thighs, not to get the head to the knee. Nobody cares about that. If you get your head to your knee, then you see how much I'm rounding in my back. I'm stretching my back, not my hamstring. So this is a hamstring opener. So gaze forward and pull yourself forward, imagining that your belly and your thigh one day will meet. As you're here, flex your foot, spread your toes. Breathe fully and deeply. And then gently release. Set your strap to the side. You're gonna pull both legs in now. And again, you may want to be sitting on the edge of that yoga or your blanket. So the bottoms of your feet touch. Now, if your hips are really tight, you're gonna be up like this. Who cares? That's where you are. It's not a big deal. We all have to start somewhere. Then take your hands, wrap them around the center of your feet, and bring your thumbs into the arches. And then open up the feet like a book. And as you do this, press your elbows into your legs. I'll just turn so you can see better. So I have my hands wrapped around my feet, the tops of my feet. The thumbs come to the arches, and then I open up. My elbows push into my legs to open up even more, and you're sending yourself forward, gazing out in front. So take a deep breath in, get long through your spine. Exhale, come forward as much as you can, but be really mindful. Go slowly, move with intention. Make yourself go slower than you want to go. And then, if you're a visual person, this will work for you. If not, you're gonna think I'm crazy. But imagine that you have like hands that are growing out of your knees, and your fingers are reaching out to the side, trying to get something just out of reach. As you do that, you'll notice that your legs will open up even more. You'll feel a deep stretch in your hips. On your next inhale, sit up tall, and then bring your hands underneath your knees. Press your knees together. From here, come onto all fours and curl your toes. So you're gonna spread your toes and press them down into the ground. And if they don't get there, if that little toe doesn't get there, you can manually put it down there. Then from here, you're gonna sit back with your hips on your heels. And then press your hands into the ground to round your upper back and find a really good stretch across the bottoms of the feet. So this may be feeling really intense for you, and that's because we just don't pay a lot of attention to our feet. So just let it go. breathe through whatever it is that's bubbling up. And if you need a little bit more intensity, you can walk your hands back onto your thighs and sit back, but sit tall. So even though your weight is kind of rested here, you also want to feel this line of energy that's pulling you up. So you have two opposing lines of energy. You have this energy line going up, and then this energy line being rooted into the ground. Let's take 3 deep breaths wherever you are. At the very bottom of that 3rd breath, walk your hands forward, bring the tops of your feet onto the mat, and then send yourself back into child's pose. Now, if this is super uncomfortable for you, grab hold of that blanket and put it between the backs of your legs and your calf muscles. And then reach your arms out in front, let your hips be heavy, close your eyes, rest your head on the mat. We'll take 3 deep breaths here. On your next inhale, round forward. Remove the blanket, set it to the side. From here, we're going to go into downward facing dog. So lift your hips, your feet are hip distance, your hands are shoulder distance, and your fingers are spread as wide as they possibly can and plugged into the mat. Let your head go so there's no tension in your neck. And then if you have very tight hips, your feet, your heels will probably be lifted. That's fine. You just want to keep pressing your heels down until you feel a deep, until you have like tension here in your hamstrings. So you're really working and you're trying to lengthen them. Your back is long, your hips are reaching up to the sky, and your heels are intending to press down to the ground. On your next inhale, we're going to lift your right leg as high as you can, and then send your right foot to the front of the mat. But do this really mindfully and do this. Bring your knee into your chest, shoulders over wrists, round your back. Push the mat away as much as you can so your back is very round. Toes are spread, and then gently place your right foot down onto the ground. Take your right hand to the inside of your right foot and heel toe your right foot so that it's out to the edge of your yoga mat. Then bring your left knee down and grab hold of your blanket. It should be rolled up pretty tight. And then from here, you have the option to stay here with your hands on the blanket, or to come down with your forearms on the blanket, or maybe you don't need the blanket at all, and you can take your hands down, take your forearms down, or whatever feels best for you. As you do this, you're going to feel a deep stretch in your inner right leg. And this is called lizard pose. People have very strong feelings about lizard pose. They love it or hate it. So whatever bubbles up for you, just kind of let it go, laugh it off, and just breathe. We'll take 2 more deep breaths here. Imagine that with each breath, you're able to comb through any tension and tightness that you're feeling so that at the end of the exhale, there's no knot. You're completely clear in the area that you're feeling tension. On your next inhale, rise up. I'm just gonna put this towel out in front, and then step back with your right foot coming into all fours, and then lift your hips for downward facing dog. On your next inhale, lift your left leg high, spread your toes. Bring your left knee into your chest, round your upper back, shoulders over wrists, and then set your left foot down. Bring your left hand to the inside, and then heel toe your left foot out to the left. and bring your right knee down to the ground. Grab hold of that towel. Decide how you will use it. Hands on the towel, forearms on the towel, or maybe you don't need the towel at all. Try to keep your chest open. Try not to let your back round too much. Look out in front of you. That also will help with the rounding of your back. When we look down, we tend to kind of slouch. So look out in front, keep your chest open, collarbones broad. Deep breath in. Deep, full breath out. And we'll do that 2 more times. This is an excellent opening for deep squats, for the bottom of your cleans. Breathe 1 last breath here. And then rise up. Step back into child's pose. So again, you have the option of using the towel or not. Extend your arms out in front, head comes onto the mat. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. On your next inhale, rise up. Set the towel to the side. You're just going to come to sit down on the ground. Legs extended out in front. Reach your arms out in front and slowly we'll come to lie all the way down onto the mat. Once you get there, grab hold of your strap. And then lift your right leg. And your left leg stays extended. Find the middle of your strap and place that over the arch of your right foot. You want your leg as long as you can be. So if you're out here because this is as high as you can go, that's totally fine. You're gonna grab as close as you can to your foot while keeping your back on the ground and then wrap the strap around once. Spread your toes, press out of the heel of your foot. And then on your next inhale, use your bicep strength to pull the leg in, but be really mindful, breathing into the back of the leg. Now, bring your attention to your left toes. Spread the toes and press out of the ball of the foot. Deep breath in. As you exhale, pull your right leg even closer, keeping that tension in the hamstring and pressing out of the heel. Toes are spread. Deep breath in. Pull 1 more time. And then gently release. From here, we're going to cross the right ankle over the left quad. Left foot is bent. Inhale, lift the foot up so you feel your shin is parallel to the ground. Then peel your upper back off the mat, interlace your fingers around the left thigh, and then pull your leg in towards your body. So as you're pulling in, energetically press your right knee away from you. So again, you have this idea of 2 opposing lines of energy. We have the left leg coming in, but the right knee pushing away. And as you do that, you're gonna notice that you feel an opening in your right hip, like right here. Spread your toes, keep your feet activated, and use your bicep strength to pull your left leg in. From here, gently release. And we'll extend the right leg out in front. Spread the toes, press out of the bottom of the foot, the ball of the foot, and then inhale and lift your left leg. Find the center of your strap and wrap it around the arch of your foot. Straighten your leg as much as you can. If that means that you're out here, that's fine. Grab as close as you can on your strap, and then spread your toes. Press out of the heel of the left foot, and then lift your kneecap so that your quad is activated. And then on your next inhale, use your bicep strength to pull your leg up and in. Breathe into the back of your leg. Bring your attention to your right toes. Toes are spread, pressing out of the ball of that foot. As you exhale, bring the left leg back towards you even more. You always want to stay grabbing as close as you can. So as you pull your leg back, you'll probably be adjusting your hand positioning to bring your hands as close to the foot as you can. Toes are spread, breathing into the left hamstring and the right hip flexor. Last deep breath here. And then gently release. Bend the right leg and cross the left ankle over the right thigh. Inhale and lift the right leg until you feel your right shin is parallel to the ground. Spread the toes, interlace your fingers the way that feels weird behind the right leg. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, pull your right leg in, but press your left knee away from you. So again, that idea of two opposing lines of energy. Opening up the back of the left hip. And then gently release. On your next inhale, lift your legs so that you feel that your shins are parallel with the ground. Then bring your hands to the tops of your shins, flex your feet, spread your toes, and open up your legs. So imagine that this pose is somewhat effortless, that with each exhale you feel gravity pull your legs down towards the ground. Your arms are heavy, you're not actually actively pulling, you're just letting gravity take control. The only thing you're really being mindful of is the feet which are flexed, the toes which are spread, and your knees, you want them to be about 90 degrees. If this is really intense for you, just stay right here. If you feel like you could use a little bit more opening, you can begin to make small circles with the right knee and then the left knee, and that will just help to open up the inner thigh even more. And then wherever you are, take one final deep breath in. And as you exhale, press your knees together and extend your right leg. Then bring your right hand to your left knee and pull your knee up and over your body until the knee kind of comes down towards the ground. If you're really tight, it won't come down towards the ground. It'll be probably about here. That's totally fine. Just let it be there. Then take your left hand and you can bring it palm down about 45 degrees out away from you. Or if you're interested in having a deep stretch in your chest and that's not enough of a stretch, take your hand back behind you, bringing the arm to about 90 degrees. And then look out over your right shoulder over your left shoulder with your right eye. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, feel gravity pull your left shoulder and your left knee down towards the ground. And then close your eyes and scan your body from your head all the way down to your feet, noticing where you're holding on to tension and seeing that with each exhale you can just kind of let that go and let that tension fizzle away. On your next inhale, slowly release and come back to lie on your back. Inhale and extend your left leg and then bring your right knee in towards your chest. Take your left hand to the top of the right shin and then pull your knee up and over your body to the left. Then with your right arm, decide whether you'd like to have it palm down about 45 degrees out away from you, or if you'd like a deep stretch in your chest, you can cactus the arm, so bring it to 90 degrees, hand back behind you, palm facing up. and look out over your right shoulder with your left eye. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, feel gravity pull your right shoulder and your right knee down towards the ground as you deepen your twist, initiating your twist from the navel. Let each breath wash over you like a wave. And as it does this, let it comb through any tangles that you have, any knots that you feel in your body, any tension that you're dealing with. As you inhale, come back to center. And as you exhale, pull your knees into your chest. Tuck your chin a little bit so the back of your neck is really long. And then on your next inhale, lift your legs, bring your hands underneath your knees. And then as you inhale, you're gonna lift your hips. And as you exhale, you're gonna rock and sit up. Find that somewhat comfortable seated position again. You can use that towel if you like, just by sitting on the edge of it. And bring your hands to your heart. Close your eyes, just taking a second to acknowledge your practice. And when you're ready, sealing your practice with Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope this is helpful, and I will see you back here next week.